story?
Now it is a Tulsi time
It really is
story.
Tulsi time? I knew I saw that somewhere on the page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somewhere on there. Oh,
we
it's
go.
not Kamala. I got the Kamala.
Oh,
gift.
no, we just say, na, na, na.
All right, we have some of that one.
Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Come on by. That was bad. Okay.
Or Tulsi time.
Let's Tulsi time. Yeah. Okay. So let's start up this story. This was an interesting one that I pulled up. There hasn't really been a whole lot of news on Tulsi, but this one kind of caught my interest. Tulsi is marketing in a very unique way in this election. Bloomberg has, I think, spent $120 million in like the last 5 hours or something, something ridiculous like that. And they're mainly putting their ads on TV. A lot of people are putting their ads on TV. A few forward-thinking individuals, including Tulsi, Bernie, Yang, and Bloomberg, I'm sure, are putting money in online ads. Tulsi has a much smaller campaign, much smaller staff, much smaller budget. So how is she spending her money to get the word out? So for presidential candidates, maintaining a steady presence in the critical early voting states can be challenging. But voters in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina see Tulsi Gabbard all the time in the form of billboards and lawn signs. Tulsi Gabbard has spent $678,790 on billboards alone in the first 3 quarters of this year. Her campaign's focus on billboard advertising is unique in the sense that not many other candidates are doing this, and it seems actually quite reasonable as they keep going. So no other candidate appears to have listed the medium as a campaign expenditure in the filings with the Federal Election Commission. Another thing that'll help is, and I think Andrew Yang made this point, I think it was on the H3 podcast, that he's like, what does Bloomberg do? What does he represent entering the race? Increased ad prices, because Bloomberg is putting so much money in, the cost of ads go up. If Tulsi's spending is the only person that's actually spending money on billboards, she's actually done a really good job of insulating her prices while still reaching out to a large amount of people. So nobody does billboards. You're talking about it right now. You're tweeting about it. Gabbard told reporters in New Hampshire, trusting your intuition when you're voting is really important. This is Brenda Rowe, 55, a resident of Concord, New Hampshire, said. When I saw someone had a huge poster on their barn in Henniker, I just thought it was a huge wave that this was coming and that people were behind her, not just my intuition. That's not to say Gabbard hasn't invested in advertising on social media, like I said earlier, where she attracts highly engaged following. She spent $582,000 on Facebook ads and $167,000 on Twitter before they banned political ads. But her investment in billboards stands. Oh, and by the way, if you've watched our channel enough, you know she spends a lot of money on Heartland's media videos and YouTube. So thank you, Tulsi, helping pay our bills. But her investment in billboards stands out in the 2020 field as several candidates instead choose to invest in television advertising in early states. So you can only imagine, especially with Bloomberg entering the race, Steyer already being there, TV ads have gotten very expensive, and everyone is glazed over at this point, seeing the same commercial 1,000 times. It's a little bit like a comedy act eventually, just everyone gets tired of it very quickly, whereas I feel billboards are more like a song. You can keep going past them and liking them, so it has that going for it.
That's quite the little metaphor analogy you got there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So on her billboards in early states, they say Tulsi 2020, that greets passerby. Well, the tagline is soldier at heart. And they have parentheses that Tulsi is a military veteran, which, yeah, very much so. One of the strengths in her campaign. Appears on some roadside fixtures. Additionally, her yard signs litter neighborhoods across New Hampshire and Iowa. I really wish that we were at the point of size with Heartland's media that we can actually get someone to go and verify this stuff ourselves. That'd be really cool. We're not there yet. We're working on it though. Anyway, so I thought this was really funny. You guys probably in chat, you'll see what I mean. So according to Brent Thompson, CEO of digital billboard company Blip Billboards, I'm sure a person who has no stake in this, no stake in the idea of talking about billboards. What does he have to say about this? Dollar for dollar, billboard. I should really like a dollar for dollar. Billboard advertising can carry brand building objectives much farther because billboards cannot be skipped or deleted, he said. When comparing with other broadcast media, billboards have lower costs and higher retention and recall rates, says the guy who directly benefits from people buying billboards. I don't know, maybe a little biased.
You youngsters don't know the power of billboards. Everyone will see it when they drive by in their motor vehicles.
That's just, I mean, that's what you're getting at, right? Is your little
Turn of the century newsman telling everyone about the political candidates who are advertising on the billboards.
I think it's great. All right. You're right. She's cornering a section of the advertising market that is not highly sought after. And when the big money rolls in, she's not going to get priced out. It's not entirely ineffective. The fact that she's going with it is generating news stories, which is a form of free advertisement in and of itself. I mean, who can blame Tulsi for a strategy like this?
And I think another thing that she has going for her on this is that I feel like people innately trust billboards more because they haven't been corrupted as much. Like if you're in Iowa or New Hampshire, every commercial, I feel like it must be every commercial or every other commercial is like, I'm Mike Bloomberg, vote for me. I'm Tom Steyer, vote for me. And so like I feel like categorically everyone's mind just tunes them out completely after a certain period of time. And that's probably going to be very similar for radio. It's just eventually you're going to hear the same blurb over and over again, but a nice billboard that you drive by on your day to work every day that just is Tulsi 2020, a soldier's heart. Mm-hmm. That's nice. That's peaceful. I don't think you're going to get tired every time you drive. In fact, I think a lot of people start giving it a positive acquaintance. Oh, and we got a super chat from the Big Red Tank. Lovely. Been watching you guys for months now. Keep up the good work. As a young conservative, Tulsi's the only Dem I would vote for. Tulsi 2020. Thank you so much for the super chat. Glad you appreciate it. Look at that. That's just, I mean, in a way, what is a super chat but a billboard of another kind that YouTube, of course, takes 30% from? But thank you so much.
That's such a perfect example of like one of the things that really bugs me about the way the Democratic Party talking lines go. It's, we need someone like Mike Bloomberg because he's the one that's going to appeal to conservatives. We need someone who's going to appeal to, the business, corporation-oriented, wealthy, the conservatives we can work with, the ones that aren't the xenophobes, the ones that aren't the deplorables, just the wealthy corporate elitist class conservatives. Let's win over those suburban conservatives. And then when you look and you say, hey, you know what, the sort of small C conservative folks that are out there kind of like Tulsi because she's kind of a peace advocate, and maybe we're overextending ourselves militarily across the world, and that's kind of a big thing for her, and she knows about it firsthand because she was in the military, is in the military. Hey, why don't we, that's not the conservative support we want. Go take your billboards and go home.
And to be clear on that, like again, like Tulsi, it's still true. There's no question that there's no one has more backbone and is willing to make more enemies to be principled to themselves than Tulsi Gabbard is. There's no question about that. And I would actually like to ask just a question to the conservative people that are watching us right now. So if you consider yourself a conservative in any fashion and you're very much I'm really here for Tulsi Gabbard 2020. If she, again, hypothetically, we've talked about this on the show, if hypothetically she becomes Secretary of State and is able to be in charge of the withdrawal from foreign policy under, let's say, Bernie Sanders, would you vote for Sanders if you knew that she would be in that position? If you would, hit 1. If no, I'm really for Tulsi. If she has to be president or nothing else, I will not accept any other way of looking at this. Just hit 2. I'm just curious to see what people think.
Yeah, that's informal Hardlands Media poll. Go.
And the thing is, we usually have enough people that respond. That is more than the polls the media does. So there you go.
What was that poll of the Uyghurs? It was like, well, we interviewed 8 people.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're going to extrapolate numbers of millions of people on the interviews of 8. All right.
Hardlands Media always getting at least 8 people for all of our polls. And to be fair, when we do a poll on when we're not air, when we do our YouTube poll, we usually get about 500 to 1,000 people, which is still more than most mainstream polls. So I'm not sure. I guess
it is a mix. I'm seeing results come in, and it is a mix. 1s and 2s, a couple of 3s. I guess that's the haven't decided or no clear choice option.
It's a hard choice. There's no question.
It is a mix.
I can definitely empathize with people that are in that position, because if you want war to end and you trust Tulsi to do that, it's a tough choice. I understand.
Yeah. So for those who missed it, it's 1 for you would vote for Bernie Sanders if you knew Tulsi was going to be Secretary of State or
Something
Vice President or
yeah,
something like that. Or 2, it's Tulsi or bust. That's the poll.
Yeah. And I guess 3 if you haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
Just keep that
3
in there.
other.
Yeah, other.
Yep.